Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. There's been a rise in animal dumping in the Southern Tier. It's heartbreaking. Our Maggie Hall speaks with Southern Tier Animal Control tonight about this issue and a woman who saved a dog that was dumped right on her road.
More and more animals are being abandoned by their owners. This little guy was one of them. So let's talk about this issue, why people may be abandoning their animals, and how you can help.
2 dogs were recently abandoned on a hill in East Corning. One is now living with local Corning resident and dog groomer Cheryl Price, who lives on the hill, and the other is in the care of Southern Tier Animal Control.
I actually lose sleep at night thinking about a dog being out there. So I responded the next morning, set a trap, and within 30 minutes, the dog went into the trap and I trapped it.
Wednesday morning when I drove down the road, I saw a kennel on the side of the road, so I stopped and looked at that, and that's where the direction they had come from. So I was just pretty horrified that someone would leave them.
Joel told me that there are numerous reasons that people may abandon their animals.
I think one of the biggest ones lately, why we're seeing a huge uptick, is the COVID pandemic. I think during lockdown, everybody got companion animals. And when they decided to go back to work or had to go back to work, there was no need for these animals anymore.
I think people do it for different reasons. Some people are just careless and they lack empathy, and others don't feel like they have a choice. You know, with financial reasons, they're moving. Sometimes an elderly person has a dog and can no longer care for them, and so it's left to the children who don't want them, and then this sort of thing happens.
Another thing is just wait until you can surrender your animal instead of dumping it, because it is a misdemeanor and you will be charged.
If you suspect an animal has been abandoned, contact your local animal control immediately. You could save an animal's life. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
An Elmira home caught fire early this morning, causing severe damage to the second floor and the roof. Reports of a fire at a West 5th Street home were called in around 1:30 this morning. A neighbor tells Big Fox that an e-bike caught fire, spreading flames across the house. No injuries reported at this time. Following the death of a 22-year-old canoeing on the Chemung River, concern for safety on the river is at an all-time high. The Elmira Fire Department wants to remind you about precautions to take.
Anybody that's planning on using the river for any kind of recreation should remember some really simple rules. Don't go anywhere on the river alone. Make sure you tell somebody what your plan is, whereabouts you're traveling to, whether you're kayaking or boating or swimming. Never go anywhere alone, and always have a personal flotation device of some kind. Things can happen when the water rises. You can't see the bottom of the river.
If an emergency happens while on the river, immediately call 911 and the Chemung County River Task Force will respond. Marijuana sticker shops around the Twin Tiers are at risk of being shut down. 420 Novelties on Lake Road in Elmira had its operating permit revoked. The town of Horseheads Code Enforcement revoked the permit after an investigation confirmed the sale of cannabis from the location. The business has been asked to close by the town. With legal and licensed sales of cannabis being brought to the area, more illegally operated sticker shops may be shut down. It is spring cleanup time at historic Woodlawn Cemetery. And as Big Fox's Josh Feldberg reports, the Cemetery Commission would like your help.
Woodlawn Cemetery in Elmira is asking for the public's help in removing any winter decorations that may still be around grave sites.
I think really what we want is for people to come in, and if they have items that are on their loved ones' graves that may have become less than attractive through the Christmas season and need to be picked up, if they could come and get those.
Old decorations can interfere with the cemetery's mowing process, which can prevent Woodlawn from maintaining its park-like beauty.
And our guys use mowers that have 48-inch decks, and they need to be able to run that between rows of headstones. So if someone has stuff that's out over the whole gravesite, that really interferes with our mowing, and that's become a real problem in recent years.
The Woodlawn Grounds crew maintains over 180 acres of land. The mowing process can take up to 2 weeks to go through the entire cemetery before having to start all over again.
You know, if any of us have loved ones that are in a cemetery and we happen to visit and, you know, things don't look attractive, it makes you feel bad.
Leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, and we don't want that. We want people to be able to come and spend some time with their loved ones and walk away feeling better rather than feeling badly.
Woodlawn is asking for those to remove these winter decorations by May 15th. Any items not removed by the 15th risk being removed and disposed of. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Elmira.
Steuben County has approved roadside cleanup weeks for all the cities, villages, and towns across the county. Municipalities can choose a 2-week period during the year where 20 tons of garbage and 10 tons of tires can be sent to the county landfill free of charge. The county states that this is not a house-to-house pickup program. It's for cleaning unwanted garbage on local roads. After days of deliberation, it seems a rent hike is on the way for many New York City residents. Kendall Green spoke to New Yorkers about how they feel about this suggested increase.
The cost of living is already costing a lot more these days.
Food has doubled, like what used to be $35 is now $70.
This New Yorker has been through some of those changes, but there's a big change she just doesn't want to talk about.
There are times when I think about it and I get anxious, and then I stop thinking about it.
The rent conversation is overwhelming for her, thinking about the years ahead and what they'll look like.
In a few years, I'm not going to be able to afford my apartment.
Those same worries turned a heated meeting Tuesday night into a rally before the Rental Guidelines Board voted to recommend a rent hike for more than 1 million stabilized apartments across New York City. They recommended increasing 1-year leases from 2 to 5% and 2-year leases 4 to 7%.
That's why a lot of people move out of New York, go to Atlanta or go to New Jersey, because rent is cheap.
New York isn't a cheap city to live in, and talks of raising rent even higher raises eyebrows. Unless you're Michael Tobman, who sees it as a must.
It does not allow building owners to keep up with ever-increasing costs.
Tobman represents 26,000 landlords in the Rent Stabilization Association. Many of the properties represented are either approaching or more than a century old.
All of these old buildings require regular, steady maintenance from hallways and electrical and plumbing and elevators, and all of that takes money.
Money he suggests owners and property managers are scrambling to find amid historic inflation rates. From 2021 to now, the Department of Finance reported real estate taxes rose by 7.7%. Fuel and insurance costs rose by nearly 20% and 13%. Maintenance costs up nearly 10%.
We're going to see disinvestment in buildings. We're going to see work not getting done. We're going to see buildings unable to meet higher costs of refinancing.
I'll look at our forecast next. Plus this.
3D printed fish could soon be on the menu. I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the unique product aiming to help the environment. Coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Good evening. It has been a long week of battling the gloomy skies, the cool conditions, and some of those rainy conditions as well. We know that the low pressure system that is bringing us this active weather is now working its way into the open Atlantic waters. Now, still behind it, there are some short waves that are going to keep us under some of this cloud cover. But you can see again, as we stepped throughout our Thursday, we had some of that popcorn-like feature where even as we look at the Binghamton camera here at the National Weather Service, you can still see some of that filtered sunshine, but still some of those heavier clouds that that we're bringing some times of that showery weather. But this is the end. We are going to talk about brighter conditions and not as many of those heavy clouds. Now, we've been looking at that precipitation over the last 5 days, kind of keeping a tally on the day-to-day rainfall. Hasn't been a lot here for the work week. It's just that battle of, do you need the sunglasses or the umbrella, where we bring in that 5-day precipitation total up to 1.25 inches, most of it though coming from that Sunday system. Today again, it was staying fairly minimal, just a few of those light showers sliding on through. But with partial clearing that is taking over, note that we are looking at a little bit of a chilly start to the day. We will start off our Friday morning with temperatures into those 30s. So although you may have been using the layer to protect you from rain, you may want that layer to keep you warm to start the day, but then we will be seeing much needed relief. Brighter skies will be around and lots of outdoor time setting up for our weekend forecast, and could even see that we have this for a while as well. So we'll have a gradual change. It's not going to be immediate that we're bright blue skies and temperatures are in the 80s. It will be a slow movement, but it's going to happen throughout the weekend. So that's the good news. Now by midweek, we will return to some rain chances. Right now it's looking pretty light. Most of the impacts are staying a little bit south of the area, but that adjustment can change. This is still a very far out outlook, but it's at least looking to start to show some changes in our 7 days. So we'll keep an eye on any of those adjustments. So those setting up into our Friday, we start off with a little bit of that chill, some cloud cover, but then the gradual clearings in place. And we even watch high temperatures climb up into the 60s for our Friday, which climbing into those 60s is average, but 68 is where our average actually sits. So that is still about 5 to 10 degrees below average. So a little bit of a chill, as we still will have a northerly wind behind that low as we watch a high pressure system fill in. But then the high is going to really take dominance through the weekend forecast across much of the northeastern states. So we see into Saturday, as we stay underneath that sunshine, we bump those temperatures up to more of a seasonal day. So some gorgeous, gorgeous conditions setting up for the weekend. If you've been pushing off maybe some of that yard work, spring cleaning, this is definitely open window weather, and make sure to grab those sunglasses. Now, as we look through that 7-day forecast, we do continue to see that warming trend into next week, bringing us into those mid-70s. And as mentioned, by midweek, we'll keep an eye on some of those rain chances, but as of right now, not seeing anything widespread organized that's going to linger like the last system we just battled.